Well, well, well. So we are still about 3 weeks and counting until we get to Oxnard, California. So we are going to have to consume ourselves with whatever content comes out about the Dallas Cowboys and just things that we want to study on our own. And one of the things that I want to study, and I've been studying this week, is that Brian Schottenheimer gave 2 pivotal press conferences when he first became the Dallas Cowboys coach. Well, we already listened to one of them, and that was his opening press conference. And I'm going to give you the second most important press conference or interview that Brian Schottenheimer gave when he became the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. But that won't be the only thing we'll be talking about today. Brian Broaddus said something that absolutely blew me away, and Cam Newton has got an update on Terrion Arnold that I think every Dallas Cowboy fan needs to hear. Let's talk Cowboys. We're about to talk facts. Let's go! Let's go on this Friday, 4th of July Eve. Unfortunately, we don't get to pop firecrackers like we used to. Now we just get to go watch firecrackers, and I refuse to do that. But nevertheless, today it's time to talk Cowboys. Welcome, 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 Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And as you come into this live stream, please hit that like button, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know the next time we post another video or go live. And if you haven't become a channel member subscriber yet, what are you waiting on? We have a lot of great things coming up the rest of this season. Now let's talk facts. Today, man, we got a great show today. We're gonna listen to a part of Brian Schottenheimer's interview. The second most important interview that Brian Schottenheimer gave. Then, man, y'all gotta hear what Brian Broaddus said. Man, Brian Broaddus. Y'all know Brian Broaddus is always invited to the cookout. But what Brian Broaddus said, this trade that he said he would do, I don't know where y'all are on it, but I'm definitely gonna tell you why I am on it. And then, Terrion Arnold. Man, I am telling y'all, people are wrong about Terrion Arnold. I think people are wrong about Terrion Arnold. And Cam Newton is going to give us a story. I don't know if y'all seen it, but after people watch this story, I will not be surprised on Monday if there are more than 3 teams coming after Terrion Arnold. Then, I found a clip on X where PJ Locke was talking about Caleb Downs. Of course, Caleb Downs is all the talk. Want to hear what PJ Locke has to say. Then we're gonna we're gonna watch Donovan Ezeraku. Just a quick video of Donovan Ezeraku working out. It's a quick hit, won't last long. And then another quick hit, rookies bonding in the outside of training camp. Another quick hit, but nevertheless, man, we got a great show for the day. And we're gonna start it off with our story of the day, and that is the Brian Schottenheimer's second most important press conference. So let's get that roll call going. Hey, it's Friday. It is time to talk Cowboys on this Friday. All right. Let me check a couple things real quick. Testing out this new format, just trying to make sure that it's working. Yesterday, I only got the, okay, I can tell from the chat, the vertical and the horizontal is working. All right, let's get this show started today, man. It's gonna be a great show. It is going to be a great show. I am telling y'all, it is going to be a great show. All right, let me do one more thing. And we're going to be ready to go. Let's get this roll call in. My sister in the chat first, the Queen. What is going on, Queen? Thomas Goldring, what is going on? Happy 4th. Lord Nova, what is going on? Robert Dudley said, God bless America. What is up, Robert Dudley? Frank Lawrence, I've seen nothing on. You know what? Let me reverse that. I have seen where people are saying that there is no way that Shedeur Sanders is being traded. I've seen that, but I've seen nothing else. What is going on, Derek Jones? Derek Jones in the building. What up, real estate vet? Happy 4th. How hot is it out there? What's going on? Yeah, real estate, the Browns. And you know, it's really not the Browns that have a poop show. It's the Browns media. The Browns media is terrible. I covered that a couple of weeks ago about the Shedeur Sanders trade rumors, but there's nothing to it. I don't think it's going to happen. John Henry in the building. Big Boss Dog, what's going on? Demetrius Noel, what's going on? Incognito. Roland Rodriguez, what is going on from South Texas? What's going on? Big Dal. What up? Timothy Johnson, what's going on? Jason Farley, what is going on? Good to see you. Demetrius Noel said Broaddus needs to have his mental capacity checked. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. Carl Williams, Chef Pope, what's going on? 817, you dig? What up? Fred Morales, El Truco in the building. What's up, Eyeball JC? Good to see you. All right. Let's get to our topics for the day. Davion Wallace in the building. What up, Davion Wallace? All right, let's get into our first story for the day. Appreciate y'all rocking with me. So our first story of the day, we're going to go listen to Brian Schottenheimer. And I hope that you were enlightened when you kind of heard Brian Schottenheimer the other day. I hope you were enlightened that Brian Schottenheimer can be trusted. If there is nothing that you didn't get, what you should be getting is that Brian Schottenheimer can be trusted. Because everything that Brian Schottenheimer said he was going to do, he's doing it. He is doing it. And that's what I'm so impressed by. He is doing it. And so if he's everything he said he's doing, Jerry is giving him everything that he needs to do what he needs to do. And as long as Jerry Jones keeps doing that, I am going to continue to trust Brian Schottenheimer. Now, what I want to see from Brian Schottenheimer as time goes on, what I want to see from Brian Schottenheimer this coming season is I want to see how does he evolve the offense, because I believe that's going to be very important for his success. I believe that in the beginning, at least until we see otherwise, I believe that Brian Schottenheimer is going to have to take up a lot of the slack for this football team until we kind of get this, to get this thing in full effect and in full motion. But again, they may absolutely fool us and may absolutely surprise us and have this defense roaring to go. They may be roaring to go right from the first game of the season. And I don't mean they're going to be, but you know what? Let me tell you something. When you think about the Dallas Cowboys schedule, there is a chance that Brian Schottenheimer does come out the box. Not Brian Schottenheimer, but there's a chance that Christian Parker and his defense, there's a chance that Christian Parker's defense does come out as a top 10 defense. Y'all do realize who we're playing the first game of the season. We're playing the New York Giants. And I think there is a great possibility they're not going to have Malik Neighbors. Not sure what Scatty Boo is going to look like. Not even sure what Jackson Dart is going to look like. Man, you got it's the Giants. And then what is it? The Commanders the next game? The Dallas Cowboys may very well come out because of the opponents. Let's pull that up real quick. Then we're going to get right into this thing. But, when you think about your defensive rank, that kind of accumulates over a game-by-game basis, right? But when you look at the Dallas Cowboys schedule, at least in week 1 and 2, Christian Parker may absolutely have a top 15 defense. I mean, look at the competition he's going to be facing. I mean, these are the first 2 games of the season. I just don't see Jackson Dart. I mean, call me crazy. I just don't see Jackson Dart coming out against the Cowboys, even if Matt Eberflus was the coach. I don't see Jackson Dart coming out lighting the Dallas Cowboys up. I don't see it. Not when we're playing for something. Last year, the Cowboys were not playing for anything. The last time we saw the Giants, matter of fact, was the last game of the season. Cowboys were not playing for anything. Jackson Dart went 22 of 32, 232 tubs. Tyrone Tracy was 18 for 103. Gunnar Olszewski, 8 receptions, 102. I don't see the Giants doing that this time when we're really playing for something. We're going to be playing for something this time. All the marbles are going to be on the table both times when we play them, I believe, in this regular season. Because of who the Dallas Cowboys are playing these first 2 games of the season. I mean, we might better prepare ourselves because Christian Parker may absolutely look like one of the best coaches in the league after 2 games. He could very well be top 15. I mean, you're going against the Giants, and then you're going against the Commanders on the road. At home. Christian Parker may very well come out top 15 after the first 2 games. I mean, it's going to start getting a little tougher, of course, when you play the Ravens, because they're going to try their best to run all over you. Houston Texans, I'm not sure about C.J. Stroud. Now, when we get to the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield, contract season. Jordan Love, you never know who's going to show up. For as much as people say, we'll see what's going to happen. Yeah, we're going to see what's going to happen. We don't have no choice. But when you look at the competition, even the first 6 games, this Christian Parker defense, just based on the opponents, might be looking pretty good. Hey, might be looking pretty good. What's going on, Ray XFan? Good to see you today. What is going on? Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Yes, sir. We're about to have a great show for today. So, man, I'm excited about this Dallas Cowboys football team because I'm going to tell you this. It's amazing to me that the Cowboys have made so many bad moves over the years. And people have normalized being negative, being pessimistic, and all these things about the Cowboys. But when the Cowboys start doing things right, people still remain the same way they always were. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm normalizing optimism. When the way the Cowboys are moving, I'm normalizing optimism. It is time for the Cowboys fan base to stop being so pessimistic towards the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, we got to see it on the field. But again, as a person who a person who has dealt in psychology, a person that is educated, religiously educated, as a person who has that background, the thing that I understand about human success and success in general, it's not about the ability. It's about the mind that has the ability. I'll take a smart player all day long, a smart, talented player all day long over just a merely talented player. And so the thing that I'm so encouraged with the Cowboys, it's what they're doing off the field. It's the way they're training these young men's brain. It's the mentality that they're putting in, the mentality that they're teaching these young men, the culture that they put these young men around. See, they're teaching these young men how to win. And while I believe there's always been an expectation to win, I believe Jerry's always had an expectation to win. The problem with Jerry, and I've said it before and I said it again, say it again, Jerry's problem was he took for granted what Jimmy did Monday through Saturday. Jerry took that for granted. Jerry took for granted the coaching staff that was led by Jimmy Johnson. Jerry took for granted the accountability that Jimmy Johnson brought. Jerry took for granted the expectations that Jimmy bought. Jerry took for granted the culture. He took for granted everything that helps you to win. Jerry took all that for granted. Jerry thought it was merely about acquiring talent. That's all he thought it was about in the grand scheme of things. Just acquiring talent. Oh, and let me just get a coach that's won a Super Bowl before. So what, he's won a Super Bowl? You're not bringing his entire staff. You don't even know with that particular coach, what is it? What were the circumstances? What helped him to be successful? Because we've watched this now, twice? We watched Bill Belichick, world champion coach, under Pete Carroll. Now that he's no longer with Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick is a shell of himself. Now that he no longer has Tom Brady, he's a shell of himself. Doesn't have some of those coaches that he had. He's a shell of himself. We see this all the time. This is why you will notice that even when Jimmy went to Miami, Jimmy wasn't the same. Had some success, wasn't the same. This is why when you get coaches and they come from a certain coaching tree, not all of them are successful. Because I know the Bill Belichick tree isn't successful. It takes time to build something special. It takes time. Maybe sometimes it takes shorter time, but it takes time. And so Brian Schottenheimer's come to the Dallas Cowboys. Him and that front office had a glitch in the first season. Matt Eberflus. I said it from the get-go. They had a bad from the get-go. They had a bad defense coordinator. I was saying it long ago. I said, I'm not sure about Matt Eberflus. Not sure about Matt Eberflus. That bend don't break and all that stuff people were talking about, I was saying it long before I heard anybody else saying it. And lo and behold, it didn't work out. But again, I appreciate Jerry Jones now. Because now Jerry Jones is starting to realize it again. Bro, you got to make sure. You got to put a culture around your team. You got to put a culture around your team that instills morals, values, family, all of those things. They all go into winning. Miss Matrix, she said, you know you're my guy. Stop being so critical of the Cowboys. Absolutely not. She said, you preach behaviors all the time. Cowboys have earned the skepticism over 31 years. So let me ask you, Miss Matrix, And I like your comment. So when do you stop being skeptical? Do you have to win a Super Bowl to stop being skeptical? When do you stop being skeptical? Now, I want to use this statement, use what you said, Miss Matrix, because it's a great statement. Because I want us to first, let's answer the question, and then we're going to get into Brian Schottenheimer. Let's first answer this question. So when do you stop being skeptical? I let us hear the press conference from Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, Brian Schottenheimer. Stephen Jones vowed they were going to, the goal was to build the best roster in football. Brian Schottenheimer said the goal was to have the best culture in football. Jerry Jones said they're going to do it better going forward. They're going to do it better. Salary cap, money management, talent acquisition, everything, how they're managing the team. Jerry Jones said they're going to do it better. So my question becomes, Miss Matrix, and this is a question for all of us, because I'm going somewhere with this. So at what point do you stop being skeptical? At what point? That's a question for all of us. This is actually aimed at Miss Matrix. When do we stop being skeptical? I can agree with you that some of that skepticism, some of that pessimism is earned. But my question becomes, when do we stop being skeptical? And I figured this would be your answer. A Super Bowl. That's why we're doing this, right? It is. But at the same time, Miss Matrix, we have to understand that there will be opposition to the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. There will be opposition to the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. So that means that they'll have to play other teams. But why I'm asking the question of when do we stop being skeptical? Because the ultimate result shouldn't be when we stop being skeptical. Because somewhere along the line, they were doing things right. And that actually should have been the point when we stopped being skeptical. Because you don't make it to the Super Bowl unless you've made a change. You don't win those games. You don't get to the playoffs. You don't win in the playoffs unless you make that change. So at some point, we got to say, we're going to stop being skeptical, because if winning the Super Bowl is the only way we stop the skepticism, well, what if they get to the Super Bowl? We're still skeptical? We're going to get to the Super Bowl and say, yeah, Jerry didn't do this right. Had Jerry got this, and had Steven done this, and had they done this, this season would have been way better. When do we stop being skeptical? And I'm going to bring this back to a person on this team, Miss Matrix. And this ain't to you, this is to all of us. I'm going to bring this back to a player on this team. George Pickens. See, we may not realize something, but George Pickens is a microcosm of the Dallas Cowboys. He's a microcosm. What do I mean? George Pickens. We heard George Pickens had behavior issues in college. That's what we heard. I think it's well documented. That's why George Pickens should have been a first-round pick, went in the second round to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want us to think about this. Had George Pickens not had some behavior issues, there's no way the Pittsburgh Steelers would have ever been able to get that talent in the second round. He's a first-round talent. He has 3 years of some behavior issues in Pittsburgh. The Cowboys wind up giving a third-round pick for a first-round talent. Do we see a theme? George Pickens' behavior on two levels had him going in places that he never should have been going. There's no way when we look back at George Pickens in hindsight that the Dallas Cowboys should have been able to get a talent like George Pickens for a third-round pick. There has to be a reason. There's no way the Pittsburgh Steelers should be able to get a first-round talent in the second round unless there's some issues. So now George Pickens is with the Dallas Cowboys. And George Pickens, in one season, George Pickens looks like a new man because he's moving different. And some of us are no longer skeptical. Because when we think about George Pickens, Miss Matrix, and this is just not just for you, because I love your question. And love you too. I appreciate you. You've been with me from the beginning. I hope you stay with me. But I'm asking all of this because we're really having somewhat of a same discussion with George Pickens, and some of us are not happy about it. Because when do the Cowboys stop being skeptical of George Pickens? When does the NFL stop being skeptical of George Pickens? What is it that they want to see? One more year. They want to see one more year of George Pickens. But in reality, I don't know about most of us, but some of us have already stopped being skeptical of George Pickens. And so this becomes the issue when it pertains to even the Cowboys. Do we have to see one more year of George Pickens to stop being skeptical? I don't think so. We should no longer be skeptical of George Pickens. Now we should just be like, okay, this is George Pickens, so let's just hold him accountable for what he's been doing. And rather than being skeptical and pessimistic about George, what are a lot of us doing? We're being optimistic. We're being encouraging because we're saying we believe that he's changed. But what have we seen to prove that he's changed? 1 year. What has he achieved in that 1 year? He really hasn't. I mean, what would be the goal of him achieving? What does he have to achieve for everyone in the NFL to stop being skeptical? Because what is it, 1 more year? Great stats? I think George is going to get stats rolling out of the bed. Great behavior. But at the end of the day, I'm saying all of this to say this is really a deep psychological question. You can put this across religious lines. You can put this in your personal life, everything. When do we stop being skeptical of anybody? When do we do it? When do we do it? Or do we do what some people do? Even when you're doing right, they're always waiting on you to mess up. They're always waiting on a misstep. They're always waiting on one mistake that says, yeah, you're just like you're just like you always was. This is what people are going to do to George Pickens. They're going to wait on him to do one little thing and say, I told you. That's why the Cowboys are justified in not paying him. But at the end of the day, I'm saying he's a microcosm of the Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys got Brian Schottenheimer, started moving different. I don't even think the Michael Parsons thing's in the grand scheme of things. I think we're looking at the Michael Parsons thing today saying, yeah, that was one of the best moves that Jerry made. When you look at everything that Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones have done since they hired Brian Schottenheimer, they have done almost everything right. Matt Eberflus was a mistake. What did they do? They corrected that mistake. Even inside of the Matt Eberflus debacle, it's still a sign that the Cowboys are changing. And even when we think about George Pickens, and I like the answer you just gave, hate with grit. The time to stop being skeptical is when you see the change. It's when you see the change. It's not the what you call per se the end result. Because even when people change, there'll still be missteps. There'll still be mistakes. But what you're looking for, that even in the mistakes, see, if George Pickens makes a mistake this year, I'm not going to go back and say, well, that's why the Cowboys didn't pay him. That's why the Cowboys didn't pay him. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at him and say, okay, so what is he doing now after the mistake? Because the change that he's made should help him even with the mistake that he's made. So I'm still not going to be skeptical. I'm still not going to be pessimistic unless he just falls back into the abyss. Miss Matrix, when? Can't answer, but it will take time. See, that's the issue right there. It takes time, and it takes different time for different people. But I'll say this, that when we start talking about time, once you figure out someone has changed, the best thing that you can do to help them with that change is not be pessimistic. And I'm not telling us, y'all feel how you want to feel. I'm just, hey, feel how you want to feel. I'm just telling you that's not probably not the way you want to live life, but feel how you want to feel. But at the end of the day, see, see, Miss Matrix, see, this is a very deep conversation we're having because everybody's time is different. And this is why, Miss Matrix, when you start talking about people changing, this is why certain people, they never accept certain people even when they change, because they want this person to meet a certain criteria before they stop being pessimistic, before they be optimistic. They want them to meet a criteria. When in the grand scheme of things for us, what we want to see is consistency. And so far with the Dallas Cowboys, and this is why I'm choosing to be optimistic about the Dallas Cowboys, because I see nothing that's showing me that the Cowboys are moving backwards. They're moving forward. This is why I'm optimistic about George Pickens. I see nothing going backwards about him. I see nothing but him going forward. Miss Matrix said time is why we're in the predicament, so only time will get us out of it. But I'm going to tell you this, Miss Matrix. But let's just say a person has had 10 years of being bad. Surely we shouldn't wait 10 years until we say they're good. Surely we shouldn't wait 10 years. We shouldn't even wait 9 years. I would just say in the grand scheme of things, when you start talking about change, Miss Matrix, when we start talking about change, Cowboys Nation, when a person changes, let's just go one day at a time. Rather than being pessimistic, and I'm not telling y'all how to feel, this is just advice. Do what you want to do. But rather than us being pessimistic, we're optimistic one day at a time. One day at a time, we're optimistic. And I understand it's hard to get rid of a label. I've been there and done it. It's hard to get rid of a label. I've made bad mistakes in my life. It's hard to get rid of a label. But because I've done bad things in my life, and God has me where I am today, this is why when I look at people, all I can do is one day at a time. That's all I can do. And I just have to be optimistic about that person one day at a time. Because those of us who have children, I got news for you. If you got children that are preteen, maybe they're in their young teens, maybe they're in their late teens, I got news for you. At some point in their life, they're going to make a mistake. At some point in their life, you may even find out they've been doing something that you didn't even know about. So at the end of the day on them, You're just going to have to take it one day at a time. Change is one day at a time, because when you change, there's always opposition to your change. And sometimes people change, they may have a misstep because something happened in that change, something happened that they couldn't control. But my issue becomes, so when you change, the true test is when you make the mistake. Because when you make the mistake, do you revert back to who you were? Or do you course correct and continue on the way that you were going? And so that's why when I look at the Dallas Cowboys, the reason why I choose to be optimistic about the Dallas Cowboys is I've been taking this one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time, and now 1 year at a time. Ever since they've hired Brian Schottenheimer, they've been doing, man, I dare say, the Dallas Cowboys have been doing pretty much everything right. I mean, right now, the quibble we got against the Cowboys is the George Pickens thing. And we don't even know if that's not going to be what we don't even understand at this point in time. They could very well extend him July the 15th. We don't know. But at the end of the day, all I'm saying is the reason why I am being optimistic about the Cowboys is because of what I'm seeing. I would do the same thing with my sons. If they made a mistake and then they course corrected, I wouldn't keep looking back at the mistake, even if they had made mistakes, and now they've made a change. Well, I'm going to keep taking it one day at a time, being optimistic and encouraging to them, because I want them to keep doing what they're doing. And so, again, man, you know, this is a very deep, philosophical, religious life question. How long does it take? How long does it take for somebody to say, I'm no longer pessimistic? I mean, I'm in the saving business. I'm in the salvation business. When somebody gets saved and their sins are washed away, it's not for me to look at their past any longer. Now I just got to look at the present and future. And it's one day at a time. So as it applies to the Dallas Cowboys, hey, I understand where y'all are, but also understand where we are as the Cowboys. They're doing a lot of things right. They absolutely are. They're doing a lot of things right. And if that don't encourage you, I don't know what will. But that's encouraging. Because, you know, as we get into this Brian Schottenheimer discussion, Miss Matrix, you know what's funny? A lot of people don't realize. Jerry Jones talked about this with the Dallas Cowboys. When Jerry Jones took over the Dallas Cowboys, you know, a lot of people were mad when Jerry Jones took over the Dallas Cowboys. But when Jerry Jones took over the Dallas Cowboys, they were losing money. The franchise was in a total rut. I think Tom Landry, as he got older, I believe he overburdened himself. Because he was basically running everything. And the Dallas Cowboys, let me see. The Dallas Cowboys' last Super Bowl was in what before Jimmy Johnson? Was it 1978? The last Super Bowl before Jimmy was, I think it was 1978, wasn't it? Cowboys, man, they were in a total rut. They were in a total rut. And a lot of people were mad that Jerry took it over and all of these different things. But yeah, Tom Landry's last Super Bowl was 1978. That was the game, let me see. 1978. He won his final Super Bowl in 1978. Was the final one. That was Super Bowl 12, 1978. I thought we had went to one after that, though. And that's where the Pittsburgh Steelers beat us. I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers beat us in either 78 or 79. But it was a long time before we got to where we were going. And then when Jimmy got here, people didn't even realize what Jimmy was doing. Jimmy was changing the Cowboys, and a lot of people didn't realize it then. A lot of people didn't realize it then, but when we won that Super Bowl, we realized it. And that's why I say, I was saying these same things yesterday, Miss Matrix. When I look back on what the Cowboys did in the Jimmy Johnson era, it made me realize, I'm realizing now, we're seeing some of the same things from the Cowboys organization. Seeing the same thing from the Cowboys organization now in 2026. So I'm excited. We're going to see how it turns out. But I remain optimistic. Y'all, hey, y'all do what you want to do. Frank Lawrence said George Pickens saved the team. Said last season Lamb had numerous drop passes and clutch points in games and was out with injury. Yeah, GP3 had games where he was undefendable. Hey, I'm going to tell you something. Frank Lawrence, I think George Pickens kind of showed us something. George Pickens kind of showed us that there's a need to have another wide receiver on your team, the caliber of a wide receiver like George Pickens. Bazzy 9, what's going on? All right. So I appreciate you, Miss Matrix, for bringing for that pushback on that. So I want to go to the second press conference by Brian Schottenheimer. And again, as much as I understand why we're pessimistic and skeptical and some of those things, I want us to understand, though, the thing that really has me confident about this team is Brian Schottenheimer. The first press conference we listened to, we've seen that all three of them are doing what they said they were going to do. Now, in this press conference, and this is the last one we're going to listen to between now and Oxnard, California, but this one right here, this is when Brian started really laying down the groundwork of what he was going to do. He really started talking about what he was going to do, and I believe this was at the owners' meeting in 2025. Brian Schottenheimer was dropping megaton bombs. Megaton bombs. Miss Matrix. Yeah, that's where I am, Miss Matrix. Right there. And that's the thing right there, Miss Matrix, I think people are having a hard time doing. They're having a hard time acknowledging the accomplishments, Miss Matrix, because people will disregard, and I don't want us to be guilty of this, that if the Cowboys don't win the Super Bowl, that we say they didn't change, they didn't do anything different, because I would dare say that is a change. I mean, you haven't even sniffed an NFC championship game in how long? I mean, man, if we got that far, oh my gosh. I'd be ecstatic because I'm like, hold on a second. I know we about to go to the Super Bowl the following season. But again, Miss Matrix, this is where I think people just struggle. They can't acknowledge the accomplishments as they go along, because that's how you help people who change. You acknowledge the accomplishments as they go along. And this is why we have to do the same thing with George Pickens. Acknowledge his accomplishments as he goes along. And I'm hoping that the Cowboys, I'm still holding out hope for July the 15th. What's going on, Blakey? But again, I'm telling you, Cowboy fans, this is why I'm trusting the Dallas Cowboys. I'm trusting the Dallas Cowboys because as I went back and listened to the press conference, Schotty is doing everything he said he was going to do. When you listen to what he said and you look at what they're doing, he's doing it. And that's why I'm so excited about this team. All right, this is Brian Schottenheimer at the owners' meeting. Let's check him out.
Well, first and foremost, we're always looking to create competition. We're certainly not done, whether that remains in free agency over the next, couple weeks, or whether that's...
What up, Newhouse?
We really wanted to attack the front, on both sides of the line of scrimmage. I'm really excited about what we did on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. Now stop right here. Brian Schottenheimer said we wanted to attack both fronts of the football. Now, he said this, but they actually had not done it yet. But when that first draft came up, what was the first thing that Brian Schottenheimer did? They took Ty Booker. Yeah. I mean, when you go back and listen to these press conferences, they're fascinating. Everything that they're doing now is exactly what Brian Schottenheimer said he was going to do. This is why I trust Brian Schottenheimer. Now, he said he thought they made a good move on defense. I'm going to tell you what I think in hindsight. Y'all tell me what y'all think. In hindsight, it was Brian Schottenheimer's first year as the head coach. In hindsight, I believe Schotty kind of looking at Eberflus from a distance, thought Eberflus could possibly be the guy. Listening to Jerry Jones, I'm sure, thought Matt Eberflus could be the guy. And so people got to realize, man, when you get an ex-head coach as your defense coordinator, he's a doggone head coach before. You're expecting his defense to come out on point. Well, Matt Eberflus didn't take this thing serious. So Brian thought they had it together. But nevertheless, he said they attacked both sides of the front. He liked what they did on defense. Now, y'all remember what I said. Last year, the theme of the Dallas Cowboys defense was ex-first rounders. We brought in all these ex-first round players. And we thought they were going to tear the league up, man. Man, we thought they were going to tear the league up with all them ex-first rounders. Man, it was it was a trash show. It was a trash show. And I think it was two things. Matt Eberflus' system and those players just were not good enough. I think it was a combination of both of those things. Now, I don't know which one it was the most of. Because Kenneth Murray Jr., man, I don't know if you can get any worse than what Kenneth Murray Jr. was. Kenneth Murray Jr. was bad, man. Kenneth Murray Jr. was bad. But at the same time, Matt Eberflus was bad too. So, I mean, it was terrible. It was terrible. And so, but when you think about it, Brian Schottenheimer, he knew what he wanted to do. First thing he wanted to do was get his trenches fixed. He knew he had to fix the defense. He wanted to get his trenches fixed. But at this point in time, we already knew last year when he gave this interview, but it was about to be a doggone circus because Michael Parsons had not got the deal that he wanted.
Up front, getting guys like Solomon Thomas, Peyton Turner, to get Dante to come back.
Think about this. All ex-first round players he just mentioned. All ex-first round players. It was the year of the first round picks. Ex-first round picks. Remember Kyer Elam? Kyer Elam, first round pick, Buffalo Bills, tearing up training camp. Man, boy, soon as we played the Rams, people running wide open out there. Preseason, running wide open out there. Got to the games. It was a mess. It was a total mess. Total mess. Let me read these super chats real quick. Ryek's a fan. He said, Brian Broaddus called Michael deodorant. He covered a lot of stank in our previous defenses because we haven't built the team right since Jimmy. Yep. Ryek's a fan. You've been hearing me say this for months. That was what Jerry discounted. He thought it was just the talent. But even the players will tell us it wasn't just the talent. Demetrius says, gee, I think people forgot who Paul was before he became an apostle. I guess that's why people believe God operates differently today. He said, I am God, I change not. Amen. Amen. Yeah, I always say, Demetrius Noel, God don't call the qualified. God qualifies those whom he calls. That's what God does. Demetrius said, gee, yes, that was the expectation, but Eberflus straight up boo-boo. The only thing he accomplished was confusion amongst his defenders in his scheme. And Demetrius, it was a carryover from Chicago. It was a carryover from Chicago. he was having all kinds of issues in Chicago. It was a carryover from Chicago. But just like the owner of the Chicago Bears made that mistake and said, we're going to bring him back even though the team is in disarray. Brought him back and had to wind up firing him during, well, I think they had to wind up firing him during the season, right? Then the Dallas Cowboys brought him in, thought something was going to be different. They wanted to fire him during the season, but Jerry said he wasn't going to make that mistake again. Freddie Morales said Eberflus tried to pull a Garrett on Schotty like Garrett did to Wade Phillips. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. But I tell you this, Freddie. I think Brian Schottenheimer shocked everybody. He outworked Matt Eberflus. When Brian Schottenheimer went in that defensive room, it was all she wrote for Matt Eberflus. What up, Quinn? What up? JCT Slice, he said, I trust Schotty. I think he'll be good with Dak and those wide receivers cooking with good enough help. If they're healthy, we can win a Super Bowl for Dak. Yeah, I think this team is going to do something. I think they're going to do something. Yeah, Frank Lawrence, and then the 49ers went and hired him. Yeah, go right ahead. I'm glad it ain't us. Yeah, Hanover said Eberflus lost me when the Bears whooped us last year. He lost me. He lost me before the season started. When I went back and looked at his defense, I said it wasn't going to work. I said it wasn't going to work. I was like, nah, man, I got questions.
Guys that give us an edge to play on the edge. The more I learn about Solomon, I met him a couple years ago at Dak's event. His story's incredible. His leadership skills are incredible. And so we're excited to bring him into the mix. Peyton Turner's a guy that I remember coming out of school, Houston Long. And then, of course, we all know Dante. Playing against Dante last year, it was like, damn, he's really good. And so, and then, you know, again, on the other side, Robert Jones was a guy that we were really excited about. We watched it, but really about creating competition starting on the fronts.
Yeah,
the game
I see you did.
Is played in the trenches. It really is. And it doesn't matter if that's the first play, the last play, whatever it is. But
you dig. Let's not forget Mike McDaniel flipped the Seattle Seahawks in 1 year, won a Super Bowl in the second.
It's always played up there at some point, whether it's trying to stop the run or having to hold up in pass protection when you're playing in a 2-minute drive. So I think we've done a nice job with that to start.
So, you know, you think about all of these things that he's talking about here. And these are the things that he was like hoping they would do. But, I'm not sure, Queen. I don't know. Yeah, I have no clue. You think about how Schotty is talking in this conversation right here. Schotty in this conversation is talking like, you know, I'm the coach, but I don't yet have the control that I need. Because them getting all the ex-first round picks, that sounded more like stuff that Jerry and them had done before. That sounded more like stuff Jerry and them had done before. And so as we're listening to Brian Schottenheimer, he's telling us everything that he wants to do, but he don't have the trust from the Joneses yet to do it all the way. So I believe what we watched last year, because a lot of people were saying, yeah, man, that's Brian making them moves, and they did that for Matt Eberflus. I'm not going to doubt that's what they did, but I wonder how adamant Schotty was in how much did he head up those moves. Because you think about every last one of the players that he just mentioned. Do y'all realize that those players are no longer here? What does that tell y'all? What does that tell y'all versus this year? The players we got in free agency this year versus what we got last year. Players that we got in the draft this year versus what we got last year. Even though I say they were pretty good last year, we're waiting on some of them to still get out of them doctor's beds and see what they're going to look like this year. But in the grand scheme of things, isn't it amazing when we look at how they look now, free agency now, draft now, coaches now versus coaches when Brian Schottenheimer first started. Isn't that amazing? Man, I'm telling y'all, this is why when you go back and listen to this stuff, it is mind-blowing. We are literally watching, because of the power of the internet that we didn't have back in 1989 and 1990. We didn't have the power of the internet on a grand scale. We can now go back and look at stuff that we couldn't look at then. But we're watching the change of the Dallas Cowboys. We're watching the evolution. We're watching all these things. No, Murray's not on the team no more. I don't know where Murray. Let me tell you something, Demetrius. I don't know if you heard this or not. Those players from the Dallas Cowboys last year were looked at as being so bad. A lot of those players still haven't found jobs. How bad does that tell you we were last year? It's crazy to me. I'm dumbfounded that Matt Eberflus found a job. Let me see if I can go back and find the Dallas Cowboys 2025 roster. I just want to go back and show y'all. This is why I want us to watch this over the next 3 days. We're gonna break this up into 3 parts, because y'all know I'm gonna dissect every little word. Y'all know I'm gonna do it. I'm sorry, that's my Bible study background and my studies background, man. That's just how I do stuff. But I want y'all to look at this Dallas Cowboys roster, man. You got to look at how we have watched them change. I mean, we have literally watched them change. They got all these ex-first-round players last year. And where are they? Where are these ex-round first players? And it was mostly the defense. I mean, where are these guys from last year? I mean, we got these guys last year. We was like, boy, this defense better be off the chain game, man. Boy, we got Dante Fowler coming off of 10 sacks with the Washington Commanders. Man, we got Kenneth Murray Jr. Man, I saw some people who were excited about Kenneth Murray Jr. I made a couple of videos about Kenneth Murray Jr., but we all quickly realized they was calling this man K9. Man, all the K9 unit dogs ought to be mad right now. It was crazy work they were calling this man K9, man. K9. I mean, I got a French bulldog. I don't know. They definitely shouldn't have been calling him K9. Kenneth Murray was up in this thing. Gone. Kyrie Elam, ex-first round pick. Gone. Who else? We had Paris Campbell was up in here. Gone. I mean, the Cowboys, Peyton Turner, ex-first round pick. Gone. Man, we had all these doggone ex-first round picks, man. And we was like, oh, boy, we about to tear it up. Yeah, we tore it up, all right. Yeah, we tore it up. We were a hot mess on defense, man. We were a hot, absolute mess. And even when you think about Matt Eberflus, people were talking about, yeah, man, Matt Eberflus, boy, he been great everywhere he been. Well, I don't know what happened when he got to Dallas. Shoot. My grandmother talked about something back in the day called hoodoo. Man, somebody must have put some hoodoo on Matt Eberflus, because when he got here, man, it was crazy work last year. We even had this guy, Jack Sanborn. I was real big on Jack Sanborn. Even Jack Sanborn, he looked good in Chicago. They were mad when they let him go over there in Chicago. I don't think nobody mad now. Man, it was the year of the ex-first round players. It was the year of the ex-first round players. It was a disaster. And that whole thing to me, Michael Lee said first round rejects. Yes, that whole scenario was a mess. But I'm giving Tom Pelissero credit. I released a video from the stream from yesterday. And Tom Pelissero said something, man, that is absolutely powerful when you go back and listen to what he said yesterday. Let me see if we can quickly find that clip. it was mind-blowing to me when I listened to what he said. Tom Pelissero brought out a point.
Go check it out.
Tom Pelissero brought out a point yesterday I hadn't thought about. And I don't think many of us had thought about it. Let's see, was it Tom Pelissero? Tom Pelissero was with James Slater yesterday. Okay, let's listen to this thing before we go back to Brian. We're only going to listen to 10 minutes of Brian Schottenheimer today. And then we're going to get on to our other subjects. But Tom Pelissero said something yesterday, and I thought it was very interesting because I had not thought of this. This is Tom Pelissero, I believe, yesterday.
And obviously Christian Parker running that scheme is going to be a huge part of it.
Yeah, getting this defense back to where they would like it to be is something that's been around a problem for a while. You think back to that last playoff loss where the Packers put up 48.
What's going on this season, you get the sense that not only is he making sure they're all on the same page, but you better be ready for pop quizzes. I don't know about you, Tom, but when I would get pop quizzes, I'm not always good at thinking on my feet. Sometimes you'll see when I do these live shots, I stumble on my words. I would struggle if I was those players, but I certainly would make sure that I'm coming ready to practice.
Listen, last season was a pop quiz for the Cowboys coaching staff because, okay, training camp's wrapping up. It's late August. Now we're trading away your best player. And now we're bringing in a new nose tackle. And then in the middle of the season, we're going to trade for a middle linebacker. We're going to trade for a defensive tackle. There have been so many moving parts. They've overhauled this defense in the past 10 months. And I think it's instructive to look at the places that they added from. Rashawn Gary comes over in a trade from Green Bay. Dee Winters comes over in a trade from San Francisco. Most of the additions the Cowboys made through the course of this offseason came from winning programs. The only exception to that is really Jalen Thompson, the safety who came from Arizona, but he's always been a player who...
That part right there. He said this time, and this is another reason why we know the Cowboys are changing. Man, the Cowboys, when they would look for players, before they got Brian Schottenheimer over the years, and don't get me wrong, they built a couple of, I think Jerry had about 3 teams in there that were pretty good. But for the most part, especially in recent years that I can remember, man, Jerry went to the hospital ward and got players, man. Jerry and Stephen Jones, man. Jerry and Stephen Jones will go right to the hospital and say, okay, who in here on crutches? Who in here on crutches? Who got problems? Let's just bring in these players. They on crutches. All right, next thing you know, hey, let's go and find where are all of the rejects in the NFL, and we're going to try to find a genie in a bottle because everybody said they can't play no more, and we're going to be the team that's going to bring something out of them. Stop it. That's what they used to do. That's what they used to do. But look at what they're doing now. Timmy Terry said, come on, G. He said, you got my stomach hurt about this laughing, man. I'm just telling the truth. Man, that defense was terrible, man. That defense was terrible. Man, the Joneses was going to, man, they were going in the stands getting players sometimes. I mean, it's just doing crazy stuff. But now, when you go back and look and listen to what Brian Schottenheimer was saying then, he was telling us what he wanted to do. But by what they did, we can tell that they were not necessarily allowing him to do everything he wanted to do. And so some of the things that he did, some of the things he did, I believe he signed off on them. And I believe he maybe even saw some good in it. But if he'd have had his choice, I don't think that's what he would have done. And so now that we've skipped to this year, Brian Schottenheimer is doing now what he wants to do. That's what he's doing. He's doing what he wants to do. And I'm sure he's not just doing everything he wants to do, but they're listening to his ideas more. They're listening to his ideas. Now they're listening even harder, saying, okay, now what do you want to do here again? What do you want to do here again? Okay, let's see if we can make it happen. And I'm going to tell y'all something, man. The 2 things that if people don't realize that if You're not realizing you're seeing a huge change in Jerry. The fact that Jerry hired Brian Schottenheimer and then allowed Brian Schottenheimer to hire his own defensive coordinator. Now, a lot of people are making, I heard people making a big deal out of, yeah, man, Jerry and him, man, he ain't gonna hire no black defense coordinator and all this kind of stuff. Well, I don't understand because Al Harris was here. Al Harris was here. I didn't understand that part. People were like, Jerry ain't gonna hire no black. But Al Harris, if I'm not mistaken, Al Harris was the assistant head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know what people were talking about on that front. Al Harris was the assistant head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. The assistant head coach. At least as far as I can see, he was the assistant head coach. I don't think it's the hiring of a black coach that shows that Jerry's changing. The fact that he allowed Brian Schottenheimer to hire the coach that he wanted, whether he was black, white, yellow, or green. And Brian Schottenheimer had a full well knew who he wanted when he got his opportunity to really get the coach that he wanted. And he went and got Christian Parker. And so this is why I'm more and more optimistic about the Cowboys, because Jerry is showing that he's listening. He's listening. The things that he said he was going to do in that press conference, he's doing it. He's listening. He's trusting Brian Schottenheimer. He's trusting the coaches. He's trusting Will McClay and that scouting department. And they're all sitting down and they're having these discussions and they're getting them, for the most part. I'm sure they haven't got every player that they wanted, but they're getting them the players that can help them win. And so that's why I say, man, boy, when you go back and look at the free agency and the players that they brought in, Tom Pelissero makes a great point. All of those players are from winning programs. And Jalen Thompson, everybody knows that Jalen Thompson is good enough to be on a winning program. And I am excited because I'm hoping that the Cowboys are going to be a winning program, because I believe they're going to be a winning program with all the things they're doing, that he's going to be in a winning program here in Dallas. So let's do a little bit more Brian Schottenheimer.
When you got here, did you ever come to these things when your dad was a coach, and when you get here, and was there any kind of aha moment at all for you?
Yeah, I think I shared with some of my buddies. I actually told Roger yesterday. I was walking down the first night going to dinner, and with my wife and a couple of the other coaches, and this is the best time of year. You get together with people you care about, that you respect, but that you compete against. And so we're walking down the long hall, coming from our room, heading to dinner, and I had an aha moment to back me being a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid with my mom and dad and my sister going to dinner. And it was literally in that hallway. And it's just, you look back and it just kind of reminds you of how fast the journey goes. And we're obviously thrilled to be here, humbled and honored to be in this position as head coach of the Cowboys. And but that was a cool moment for me.
Has it hit you yet, being a Cowboys coach? What have the last couple of months been like?
Very busy. I think it has. It still comes and goes. There's so much work to be done that you really don't have a whole lot of time to think about it. It's more when you stop. My wife and I have had a few quiet moments away from the office where you kind of sit down, you're having a cup of coffee, and you're checking in on all things family. Hey, what are the kids doing? What's going on? How's life? And then you do have moments like, damn, this is pretty amazing. This is pretty cool to sit in this chair with this incredible organization with this much of a history. It's something that I don't take for granted at all, and I'm excited about and really looking forward to not just the challenge of it, but building it with our coaches and with our players, because that's what this business is about. Getting a group of people together with a common goal, working every day to do it. Every day's not going to go great, and that's the way I'm wired. I love to work.
Yeah. See, I like what he just said. Miss Matrix, you still in the building? Miss Matrix, see, you catch what Brian said. See, Brian said this is what it's all about, getting a group of people together and, you build that culture, you have a common goal, and, you set out to win. But he also mentioned, and there'll also be some challenges along the way. And this is one of the big things of why people sometimes, they don't follow through with change the way that they should. Because when they start to make the change, and the first time they do something wrong, people like, I knew you weren't going to do it and blah, blah, blah. And then, people kind of revert back to doing what they did before, even though I think the Cowboys now are well beyond this point. And again, even with George Pickens, people are going to be waiting on George Pickens to make a misstep so they can say, I see why the Cowboys didn't pay him and all of these different things. But even in change, there are still going to be challenges. And I think this is where people sometimes get mad at the Cowboys. For example, when the Cowboys didn't get Myles Garrett, and it just like people just disregarded everything the Cowboys have done well up until that time, because people have a tendency and a nature to say, same old, same old. Because as much as people say they want people to change, sometimes people don't realize they are one of the worst people to be around when somebody's trying to change. Because they'll say, yeah, in other words, they're not holding people accountable for the change. They're actually looking for the next time for them to fail so that they can say that they didn't change. And so I love what Brian Schottenheimer is talking about. You get a team, you build a culture, so that when you do have those missteps, you don't revert back to what you were. You continue on the same path that you're on. And so one of the things that I can say, and I've already mentioned this about Matt Eberflus, but I am I'm going to tell y'all something. The firing of Matt Eberflus, that was another turning point moment for me. That was a turning point moment for me. When Jerry fired Matt Eberflus, because I remember they were talking about, Cowboys they don't want to fire him yet. They want to have this exit interview. Exit interview? Hey, man, your stuff in the parking lot, bro. It's over. Your stuff in the parking lot. We've already packed your stuff up. We're going to let you out the back door so nobody see you, no cameras. It's over, bro. I'd have fired him after the last game. But it wasn't very long. They let him go. And there was another moment that it hit me. Yeah, we changing. Yeah, we changing. I got you, Timmy Terry. Say, yeah, we changing. We're changing, man. And that's another thing that got me excited about the Cowboys. We're changing. Man, when they pulled that, firing Matt Eberflus is huge. Firing Matt Eberflus is huge. Didn't draw it out, didn't wait. They said, nope, not good enough, bro. Not good enough. Frank Lawrence, he said here, let's be 100% honest, DaRon Bland, Savon Revel Jr., Demarion Overshown are injury risk. I'm going to tell you this, Frank Lawrence, there's only really two of them that I'm worried about. I'm not worried about Savon Revel Jr. I'm not worried about Savon Revel Jr. I am worried about DaRon Bland. And I'm worried about Demarion Overshown. Demarion Overshown, even though I don't think he's injury prone, he just keeps getting in these freak accidents. So I am concerned about him. DaRon Bland, the screw in his foot, very concerned. Savon Revel Jr., not concerned. Not really concerned about him. But 8-17, you dig, this is what they're moving towards. And that's why I'm happy about what they're doing. Frank Lawrence said if Jordan Brooks on the trade block, what's taking Dallas so long, and reclamation project of this kid, Terrion Arnold? I think the holdup on Jordan Brooks is Miami. Yeah, I think it's Miami. Mark Davis, what is going on, my brother? What is going on? Yeah, we got a lot of things going on with Tyler Guyton, man. He's got to come on And hey, Frank Lawrence, don't be surprised if Taylor Decker shows up. Don't be surprised. But where I am happy is that in everything that we're talking about with Overshown and Revel Jr., and we're talking about Tyler Guyton, because of what I'm seeing, I believe the Cowboys will address this sooner than later once they see what this is in Oxnard, California.
When you look at how this whole NFC East shakes out, you've obviously been in the division. What do you think that you guys have to do to be able to compete in this division to win the division?
Well, again, I think, number one, it's an incredibly difficult division. Addressing the front seven on both sides of the ball is something that we've wanted to do. Again, one of the mantras of our program is going to be you got to own the line of scrimmage. And so whether it's Philadelphia, Washington, the Giants, they all have good fronts. And so from an offensive perspective, you got to be able to do that. From a defensive perspective, you have to be able to pressure the quarterback. But it's going to be really a fun division to watch, but one that we feel very comfortable in our ability to go and win.
There it is right there. That was one of our problems last year. Our defensive front. Our defensive front was not good last year. It was not good. We got Kenny Clark, Oso Digizua. But the thing about Oso Digizua, for as good as he was, Oso Digizua was actually, if you ask me, a better pass rusher than he was a run stopper. He was actually a better pass rusher. And so there were just times they were just struggling all the way around. Bad linebacker play, which some are worried about the linebackers. I'm not. You got D. Winters, you got Rashawn Gary. I guess some people may be concerned about Demarion Overshown and maybe even Donovan Ezaraku coming off the injury, but I'm not so concerned about them because I believe we got James Houston. I believe he can fill in there. Jayshawn Barham. I think we're going to be okay there. And then, of course, we got Malachi Lawrence. I'm feeling real good about where the Cowboys are with that. But, again, Frank Lawrence, but I do got some concerns about players. Braves, I don't know what time it is where you are, but ain't no way I'm mowing the yard at this time of day. Shoot, you forget that. What up, Jeremy Betts? Chef Pope, he says, Troy, that's the hold up. He said it's Troy, that's the hold up. Timmy Terry said, gee, you think Schotty more relaxed now since this year too, and he's gotten his feet wet. You know what? I think he was always kind of relaxed. I think the word I'm going to use, Timmy Terry, I see more confidence. Look at his face on this picture. When you look at Schotty now, I see confidence. That's what I see. Schotty's more confident now. And what builds confidence is knowing what you're doing, knowing your routine, knowing exactly what you're going to do. I see confidence. And not only confidence because he knows what he's doing. I see confidence because he knows that Jerry is listening to him. He's got the coach he wants. He's got the coaches he wants. I mean, he's got a lot of things in place that he wants. Oh, I see you. Okay, it's 8 p.m. Okay, it's about time. If I was going to do it, I'd be doing it. Yep, Michael Lee. Thank you again. Bad coaching with round one rejects. Yes. 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 So, yeah, I see more confidence now. And even when I listened to him, he said, we're going to own the line of scrimmage. They couldn't own the line of scrimmage last year. Not with that. Not with that and not with Flus. They couldn't do it. I believe they can rule the line of scrimmage this year, but we got question marks. And I think the question mark is actually bigger for Tyler Guyton than it is for Terrence Steele.
That being said, do you feel with what you've done in free agency and in both fronts that you can concentrate some of your draft capital on some playmakers on the offensive line, maybe a corner on the back end, or do you feel what you've done in free agency allows you to pursue that a little bit more in this draft?
Now, keep in mind, they hadn't got George Pickens yet. So they was talking about a wide receiver when he's talking about more offensive weapons.
now, and will you?
Yeah, great question. When we went into free agency, the thought was, let's get into the draft where we can take the best player available. In my opinion, that's the best way to go. And I think, talking to Steven and Jerry and Will, like, by making some of the moves that we've made, we feel like, yeah, we're not done. We still have things that we want to do. But, like, when you get into the draft and you're sitting there at those certain spots, the scouts.
What up, Gold World?
Job. I've said it to them. I say it to you guys. The scouts and the personnel guys, they're the experts. They do this 365 days a year. It's our job as a coaching staff to present.
Yes, I think Michael Trigg and Jaden Blue are going to be a big part of the Dallas Cowboys offense, as well as Phil Maffa. I think all three of them.
To them, here's what we want. Here's what we're looking for. And then the conversations at the Combine were incredible. We had some really just awesome give and take about positions and the way you define a 3 technique or the way you define an offensive lineman or a tight end. But yeah, I feel like we go into this draft with a lot of confidence. Again, we're not done in free agency. We're always looking to acquire. We're always looking to compete in the personnel side of it. But I do feel like we've set ourselves up to go into the draft where, hey, we're sitting in certain spots. That's the guy's best player available. Let's take it.
What's the challenge as a first year?
Yeah. Last year's draft. Y'all tell me what y'all think, but I think this year's draft is better than last year's draft. You think about last year's draft. Tyler Booker, boom, they hit. They hit on Tyler Booker. Donovan Ezeraku, I think he's going to be a hit. I don't regret Donovan Ezeraku, but I don't think he's a hit yet. But I believe he's going to be a hit. Savon Revel Jr., I think he's going to be a hit. See where we're going? See, last year's draft was not as good as this year's draft. And that's why it's amazing to me when you look at the progress. 1 year later, we went and got players from winning. We got players from winning teams in free agency. We didn't do that last year. Last year, we got them round one rejects. This year in free agency, what did we do? We looked at winning programs, and we brought in players that we know that can be good when healthy. D. Winters, Rashawn Gary, bought them in, Otito Ogbonnia, others. Then we turned around, we think about the Michael Parsons trade, we got Kenny Clark. We stepped it up a level. We got Quentin Williams. I mean, see the theme? See, this time we got a whole lot better players. You think about it. We had Shamar James playing linebacker for us last year. He's a rookie. This year, even if we get these rookies to play for us, they won't have to step. It won't be a necessity because now we went and got us some players from winning programs. Look at the draft this year. The draft this year compared to drafts in the past, at least on paper, it's incredible. Todd Booker was the highlight of the draft last year. This year, I believe we got about 3 or 4 in there that we're like, man, we're excited about them. We got 3 or 4. Caleb Downs, probably the best pick in the draft for any team. We went and got Caleb Downs, Malachi Lawrence, Jayshon Barham. I mean, we really went in that draft, and we got some really good players. Devin Moore. I mean, you think about it. We did extremely well in the draft, if you ask me, compared to what we did before. L.T. Overton, Shelton. I mean, just way, 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 way better draft. But definitely when I think about 4 of those draft picks we got this year, man, they're going to contribute this year. So that draft, and not to mention, I'm telling y'all, everybody knew Michael Trigg was a top 5 tight end. Everybody knew it. The only reason that Michael Trigg was not drafted is that Michael Trigg had issues in 2024, not 2025. He cleaned up his act in 2025. And, man, I was so glad when the Dallas Cowboys, Angie the Rebel Chicks, turned me on to him. I was so glad when the Dallas Cowboys, as soon as that draft was over, they went and gave him the biggest contract they've given an undrafted free agent. He here to stay. Yeah, he here to stay. I mean, even when you look at Michael Trigg has to be one of the best UDFA players Cowboys have gotten in a long time. I mean, we got to see him on the field. But, boy, when you look at that tape, He's got the potential to be one of them. Demetrius, he said, yes, this draft was absolutely better this year. Chef, he said, man, I just finished dinner for the kiddos. Got my pork shoulder smoking for tomorrow. Listen to some good content. Yes, sir. Man, I'm about to get me a smoke. I was thinking about that today. Yeah, Trig is it, Frank Lawrence. Mike Lee, he says, Schotty has a plan and a vision. I believe he plugging up a 30-year hole. We'll go as far as Schotty moves take us. And again, see, and Michael Lee, this is what I'm appreciating about what we're watching. We're watching Brian Schottenheimer's plan from his opening press conference and then this owners meeting press conference. Because in this, to me, this is where Schotty poured out his entire scheme. He poured out his entire scheme in this. He told you everything he wanted to do. And even in what they did last year, even though it didn't succeed, it was still moving towards what they wanted to do. And this is why, in the great conversation we had in the early beginning, see, people got to understand what change is. That whenever you are changing, there are still going to be some challenges in your changing. But what truly shows change is that when something doesn't go right in your change, you continue to move forward in your change and you course correct. You correct that problem, that issue that was the setback. And you say, okay, the setback is the comeback. And then you just keep going and doing what you're supposed to be doing. And so now we're looking at, they have corrected some of the things they made a mistake on last year. All those first round rejects, gone. All of them gone. All those rejects, gone. Matt Eberflus, gone. They realize all those mistakes. They're all gone. That shows true change. And I believe what we got this year is way better. So I like it.
Head coach and play caller.
Probably just, using your time wisely, making sure you spend enough time touching all the departments. That's been something I've spent quite a bit of time on early on. The good news for me is the offensive side of it is going to have some changes, but not as many as most first-time head coaches. And the benefit for me, again, quite honestly, Todd, is, having been here, I know all the pieces. So like talking to some of the other first-time head coaches, right? If they need to get something done from a contractual standpoint, they're learning the names, right? If they have to get something done with travel, they're learning, okay, who do I go to? I know all those people. So that's good. But, just the constant communication with Flus and Nick and those guys. And, hey, how's it going on the defensive meetings? We have conversations, every day. But it becomes a lot. And as you get into the draft, your focus, you have to put things into buckets. And so the bucket that's coming up very quickly is going to be the draft. Our players are coming back. I can't wait to get them back in the building. Again, this is not for people that don't know how to manage their time. If you don't know how to manage your time, this is not a good profession to be in.
What do you want your offense?
Now let's listen to this. Let's break this down. These are two more things they course corrected. And I think we're going to see the second course correction when the season starts. Let's go backwards. Matt Eberflus. Total mistake. Total mistake, fired. Total mistake, fired, got a new defense coordinator, got a new defensive coaching staff. Fired, fix that part. Now, let's go backwards again. He said they were not going to change much with Dak Prescott. See, continuity is what they were looking for with Schotty and Dak Prescott. Now, what I'm looking for is the next course correction. Is now I want Brian Schottenheimer to do what he did in Seattle in year 2. Schotty, now it's time to stretch Dak Prescott and these wide receivers, son. Now it's time to open up your run game. Now it's time for you to add some wrinkles to this thing. Now it's time to say, nah, we're not going to do what we did the previous season, which was some of that Mike McCarthy stuff. Nah, Dak, we got George Pickens now. We know Javonte Williams can run. We're gonna put Jaden Blue into the mix. We're gonna get Phil Moff into the mix. We got to get Michael Trigg in the mix. Brevin Spanford in the mix. We're gonna really mix this thing up, and we're gonna do some dynamic things now this year. We're going with quantity. We're going with quality over quantity. Now we're about to come in with some explosive plays. Now we're going to add some things in that we were not good at last year that nobody's going to be expecting us to do. Let's get rid of that CD. Let's get rid of that CD Lamb wide receiver sweep. Let's get rid of some of that dumb junk. Let's move George Pickens all over the place. Let's get Jaden Blue in that screen game. Let's get Hunter Lipke more at the fullback position. Maybe even run him some. Get the quick pitch game in here. Let's do a whole bunch of different wrinkles. Put Michael Trigg, line him up at tight end, put him in motion, let him go in the slot, line him up against a small defensive back or a linebacker, and let it be all she wrote. Man, if y'all have not seen Michael Trigg's tape, Michael Trigg is a mismatch for a small defensive back. He's a mismatch for a linebacker. He is a mismatch nightmare. This dude is a wide receiver in a tight end's body. Hands are incredible. Now I want to see him course correct this. Last year, Dak, we didn't change up a lot because it was a lot of things going on. Now we got some things in place. We're about to add some wrinkles in this thing. It's time to take this play calling to the next level. That's the next place I got to see him evolve because I've seen the coaching part. He is the coach. Schotty is the right coach. Now I want to see if he's the right play caller. That's what I want to see now. Is he the right play caller? Can he use all of these weapons? I'm going to tell you something. This is why I love coaches like Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Ben Johnson. When you think about those four coaches in particular, if you give those four coaches 15 weapons, you're going to see all 15 of those weapons in a game. All 15 if they have 15 weapons, you will see those 15 weapons in every single game. They'll make sure that every one of those weapons touch the ball. They will do it. That's why they're the best in the business. That's why they are the best in the business. This is why Ben Johnson is going to continue to be a problem in the NFC because Ben Johnson maximizes, even when he was with the Detroit Lions, he maximizes every single offensive player. Sean McVay, again, Kyle Shanahan. This is why Kyle Shanahan last year decimated with injuries, still got to the second round of the playoffs. How in the world do you do that? How do you do that? He's a master play caller. Kyle Shanahan is a master play caller. And I want to see now, can Brian Schottenheimer start moving up that ladder? He's already I'm calling it on great coach. What he's done in a year is just great. It's incredible. But now, can he evolve this offense? Can you get something out of Dak Prescott that we haven't seen? And that's going to be hard. And what I'm talking about is talent-wise. Man, Dak Prescott, we have just seen Dak do so many things. But I think he can do more. With the right play caller, I believe he can do more. So this is the next course correction. Last year, man, I don't know if y'all remember when we were talking about this, but I was a little bit surprised at the play calling by Brian Schottenheimer because it looked eerily similar to Mike McCarthy. Eerily similar. It didn't even look like the 2023 game plan that they said Brian Schottenheimer was responsible for putting in. That 2024 game plan, it looked eerily similar to Mike McCarthy. This year, I want Brian Schottenheimer to put his stamp on this offense. Put your stamp on it. It's year 2, bro. You ain't getting fired. You've earned the trust of Jerry Jones. They've got you weapons. Man, it's time to, amen. It's time to take the training wheels off the bicycle, bro. Last year, Dak did Dak things. I want Schottenheimer to say, "No, Dak, I got a few more. I got a few tricks up your sleeve. I'm gonna give you some new tools in the toolbox. We about to take this league by storm. We got CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Man, I want to see that play calling evolve. Exactly. See, Dak ain't got nothing to prove. It's Schotty that's got something to prove. I want to see him evolve that play calling. You got a quarterback like Dak Prescott at this point in his career. I mean, he's cerebral, man. He's cerebral. There's nothing you can hardly throw at him. You know, for as good as Fangio and Christian Parker is, I got to remind us again. Y'all do know Dak Prescott sliced that defense up. Dak Prescott sliced that defense up. And when you go back and look at quarterbacks against the Philadelphia Eagles defense last year, Dak Prescott was one of the top performers. That defense gave everybody trouble. Dak Prescott sliced that thing up. Dak Prescott was throwing passes in places. Man, when you go back and look at the tape, you'd be like, Dak wasn't supposed to throw that. Yeah, but he threw it anyway. That's just where Dak Prescott is. And so I'm ready to see Schotty now. Okay, I know what Dak is. He's an incredible quarterback. So now let me do some things that I didn't do last year, and especially because I believe I'm going to have a better defense. When your defense is good, you can open up your playbook. Because if you make a mistake, your defense can get a stop. Your defense might get a turnover. Man, a good defense allows you to do some things that you can't do when your defense is trash. You're afraid to not even, when you got the defense we had last year, man, you cringed every time you punted the ball. Every time you punted the ball, you was like, man, they gonna score. if you couldn't find a way to get ahead on with that defense, you already knew the game was over. With a better defense, you can do some better things on offense. What's up, Wade Bowden? He said, G, tell it like it is. Let's go Cowboys. Man, Dak Prescott sliced that defense up last year, man. Real Estate Vet said Dak is a blessing. Teams will give kings ransom for a quarterback like Dak. His mindset goes a long way. Real Estate Vet, I said it yesterday. I've said it before. Kyle Shanahan would have already won 2 Super Bowls with Dak Prescott. Kyle Shanahan would have already won 2 Super Bowls with Dak Prescott. Yeah, Gwen, Dak sliced that. He sliced that defense up like a piece of cake. He sliced it up. 70s fan said, preach it. 70s fan, boy, people, hey, I have to keep reminding people of 70s fan show. Man, hey, I love Christian Parker, but don't y'all ever forget, boy, who we got over there. As JCT Slice always so eloquently says, we still have 4. Man, Dak was slicing and dicing in that thing, man. We was a couple of CeeDee Lamb drops away from sweeping them boys. Shoot. Came back from a 21-point deficit in the second game. Man, Dak was slicing and dicing on them boys. All right, let's just a couple more questions with Schotty. Then we're going to get to our other part of the show.
Physical. Again, you know, I talked a little bit in the opening press conference about, you know, the marriage between the run game and the action passes. But, you know, as a football team, as an offense, we want to be physical.
What up, Chris? 82109.
It's always been to run the football. You know, I really believe that the game, like I said, is up front. Led the league twice as a coordinator. Proud of that. I think getting a guy like Clayton Adams really helps us as the coordinator. His knowledge, I've been tracking him for a couple years now. He's an incredible mind when it comes to not just the run game, but just how to attack defenses and how to get favorable leverage and things like that. But physical is the first thing that kind of jumps out at me.
When you look at this draft class,
now, Brian Schottenheimer accomplished this last year with Javonte Williams. He accomplished that physicality. And I still say we probably have top 5 in the game, center and guards. Ty Booker, Ty Smith, Cooper BB, top 5 in the game. Top 5 in the game. Them boys crazy with it. Top 5 in the game. We just got to get Tyler Guyton, man. If we can get Tyler Guyton up, man, boy, we can get Tyler Guyton. Man, if we can get Tyler Guyton up to speed, oh my gosh. It's on and popping. Newhouse fam said he'll be right back. Got to watch that World Cup. Telling you, man, we own to something. Frank Lawrence said it'd be a boss move for Jerry to surprise everybody and lock George Pickens up to a long-term contract. Man, I'm still holding out hope. I'm hoping actually against hope because, I mean, the evidence is George Pickens' attitude, but we'll see about the rest. But again, Schotty accomplished his physicality thing with the run with Javonte Williams. I think he's going to evolve that this year with Phil Maffa. And don't be surprised. I will not be surprised if the Cowboys see something. If they're not seeing what they want to see in Oxnard, California, I will not be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys bring in a running back. That's why I say for all of us, let's just be patient. I don't think they're done cooking. Yeah, real talk hog. Yeah, we talked about Guyton being the right tackle, man. They want him to be that left. All right, one more question, and then we'll pick up Brian Schottenheimer tomorrow and get to the rest of our show.
How familiar are you with it? How much have you caught up? And where do you feel like the depth is in terms of where you can build?
Yeah, it's a great question. We start our draft meetings here next week or so. I will say I'm getting caught up. I think the latter part of last week, I was at a couple pro days and just time spent with Mitch, time spent with Will. Some of the scouts has been incredible. Again, these guys are the experts. I'm leaning on them. I think there's a lot of depth on the defensive line, both interior and on the edge. I think that there's a lot of depth, obviously, with the running back position. You know, you start going through the film, which I'm through most of the POA tapes. You try to do that before you get into the draft process. And
now, wait a minute. Isn't it funny he said there's a lot of depth at the running back position? And we wound up in that draft, we got two running backs. We got Phil Maffa and we got Jaden Blue. Now, this is why we're waiting on last year's draft to come to fruition. So we got what? Ty Booker. I'm just kind of coming off the top of my head right now. Ty Booker, Donovan Ezeraku. No, Savon Revel Jr., Donovan Ezeraku. Was it Shamar James? Then we got Jaden Blue, Phil Maffa. Now let's think about it. 3 of those picks from last year were hurt. So now we're trying to see what they're going to be this year. Savon Revel Jr., hurt. Phil Maffa, hurt. Donovan Ezeraku now, hurt. So we're still waiting on those 3 to develop from the draft. But nevertheless, Phil Maffa and Jaden Blue are going to have to make their move in this training camp because they were always a part of the plan. They were always a part of the plan. And now that you got your bell cow back as a Javonte Williams, now you got to make Phil Maffa and Jaden Blue a part of the plan. You absolutely have to.
I mean, there's guys at every level with every different grade on them that you're like, the difference is not that huge. It's like, okay, this guy's got what grade, this guy's got that grade, but there's all things that you see that you love. Contact balance with this guy, change of direction with this guy, maybe a little bit more speed with that guy. But I'm not where I need to be today, but I will be. And I think I'm a lot farther along now than I was probably 3 or 4 weeks ago.
All right. We're going to check out the rest. We're going to check out, this will be 2 more parts. We're going to do part 2 tomorrow. My wife had me laughing. She said you're doing a live on July the 4th. I said, I sure am. She said you're doing one on July the 4th. Yes, I am, for sure. I'm doing a live at some point tomorrow. I don't care what it is. I am doing a live tomorrow, and I'll be releasing videos and everything tomorrow. Cowboys Nation cannot wait. We gotta keep ourselves occupied until training camp. Keep ourselves occupied. All right, so let's listen to this thing with Brian Broaddus. I heard this thing with Brian Broaddus, and it just blew my mind. I just kind of heard a piece of it. Let me see. Let me do this thing. I heard this thing with Brian Broaddus, and we ain't mad at Brian Broaddus. Brian Broaddus is always welcome to the cookout. But Brian Broaddus, man, hey, this is off-season talk right here. Brian Broaddus said something, and I think it's kind of got everybody, I think some of the people that heard it, they was like, what? Let's see if we can get to that clip. This is Brian Broaddus. Brian Broaddus talking about trading
I would offer one.
George Pickens. Let's roll it.
One in Pickens.
That's a lot.
I would offer one in Pickens.
That's a lot.
To the Raiders.
Would you?
What? A 1 in George Pickens to the Raiders for Max Crosby? Can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I couldn't do something like that. Y'all telling me what y'all do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Demetrius Noel said he thinks Guyton's going to be better. I hope so. I'm pulling for him. Quinn, ain't no way. It's no way. And the reason why I know it's not going to happen, Quinn, because if it was going to happen, they would have offered him the first time it came around. Ain't going to happen. I don't think people realize this. If you were to trade George Pickens for anybody, you took a step backwards. It is a step backwards to trade George Pickens. And the reason why I know it's a step backwards, CeeDee Lamb hasn't played a full season in 2 years. CeeDee Lamb has been hurt in back-to-back seasons. You need 2 wide receivers of that caliber. I hear people say, yeah, I haven't seen a team win the Super Bowl with 2 number ones. I did. The 1992 and 1993 Cowboys. Yeah. Alvin Harper may not have been a number 1 with another team, but Alvin Harper on the Dallas Cowboys with Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith, Alvin Harper was a number 1 wide receiver. And I ain't trying to give it up. I'm not trying to give it up. A lot of people don't realize, people say, yeah, they didn't go to that Super Bowl, that 1994 Super Bowl because because Jimmy wasn't there. Yeah, Alvin Harper wasn't there either, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think Alvin Harper was there either. Now, you don't get rid of George. George is an integral part of what you're doing. Don't change nothing on that offense unless it's to get better offensively. Don't touch that offense. It is exactly what Dak Prescott needs. And now that you've added Michael Trigg, I'm telling us, man, I am so excited about Michael Trigg to go along with those 2 wide receivers, and not to mention the emergence of one Ryan Flanoy. When you think about the Dallas Cowboys, this is the weapons that Dak Prescott is playing with. CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson, Kevontae Turpin, Ryan Flanoy, Michael Trigg. What? I'm not moving none of that. None of that. I'm not moving none of that. I'm not moving none of that. That's a Super Bowl caliber offense. I'm not moving none of that. You don't mess with that. Nah, you don't mess with that because you don't get many opportunities to get that. You don't get many opportunities. When you get that, what the Cowboys have right now, nah, man, you roll with it and you keep it. Shoot, you roll with it, rock with it. You roll with it, rock with it when you got that, man. I'm not changing that. And I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to go out on a limb. Maybe I'm the only crazy one. I would rather have, right now, I would rather have Jordan Brooks. I would rather have Jordan Brooks than Max Crosby. Absolutely. I would rather right now, if you gave me a choice, I'd take Jordan Brooks. I believe we need more help on, I believe that if you gave me a choice of what to improve between edge and linebacker, I'm going to take my chance on Jordan Brooks. I'm taking my chance on Jordan Brooks. Absolutely taking my chance on Jordan Brooks. We got pass rushers on this team. We absolutely have pass rushers on this team. Our problem is we're being told that we don't have pass rushers on this team, or we're being told that we don't want to accept, or we're listening to people who don't accept the pass rushers on this team. We got pass rushers on this team. Our issue is we are as guilty as people who keep bringing up Micah Parsons. We are looking for the Micah Parsons replacement. We got to stop looking for the Micah Parsons replacement. We don't need to look for the Micah Parsons replacement anymore. Only thing we need to be concerned with is putting together a great defense. And all that replacing Micah Parsons stuff be danged. We just need to find us capable players. And I'm just telling you, I'd rather have Jordan Brooks right now than Max Crosby. I would.
You really?
Yeah.
A first-round pick and Pickens?
Yeah.
For Max Crosby right now?
Yeah. Wow.
Damn, dude. You think Crosby's going to have a bigger impact on your team than Pickens is?
I think he absolutely will. Yes, I do. I think, to me, we're right now, the thing that is holding this, and I know Pickens was incredible last year, but the one thing that is holding you back is this defense. You add him to this defense. Word Sharp have this defense ranked overall. I would offer a 1.
No way. No way. No way. I believe if you get Jordan Brooks, your defense goes on steroids. I believe if you get Jordan Brooks, your defense goes on steroids. Rashawn Gary, D. Winters, Jordan Brooks, Ezra Rocco, Overshown, Jayshon Barham, Shamar James. Nah, bruh, I'll take that. Sure, I'll take that. Nah, I'm taking Jordan Brooks. I'm taking Jordan Brooks. All day long, I'm taking Jordan Brooks. Yeah, BT Jordan Quinn. BT Jordan. Yes, sir. Gregory Davis said Myles Garrett trade has some of the media and Cowboy fans panicking. Not me. Because I knew we were never winning that trade. For everybody who was mad about it, be mad about it, be glad about it, we were never winning that trade. You know, and again, this is off-season talk. I understand, Brian Broaddus, he just, hey, it's off-season talk. It's possibilities. But, hey, I don't think none of us have to worry about that. I don't think the Cowboys are going to do that. I don't think the Cowboys are going to do that. I don't think they'll trade George Pickens for, I don't think they'll trade, because, the funny part to me is, George Pickens in the first-round pick? Nah, Raiders. Y'all giving us a first-round pick and Max Crosby. We're not giving y'all the first-round pick and giving y'all George Pickens. George Pickens is more valuable to the Raiders than Max Crosby is to the Raiders. And it's pretty obvious because the Raiders were trying to trade him away. And I still think there's something going on. I do. I think something's going on. I got a feeling I'm not going to be surprised if Max Crosby is playing for somebody else this year. I don't think it's going to be the Cowboys. I'm not going to be surprised if he's playing for somebody else this year. I'm not. I'm just not going to be surprised. I'm not going to be surprised if Max Crosby is playing for somebody else. Because I can tell you now, Cowboys ain't giving no first-round pick. Shoot, I don't care who you attach to it. They ain't giving up no first-round. I don't think they're giving no first-round pick for Max Crosby. I mean, it's stranger things, but we'll see. What up, Gwen Bowden? She said She said they changed none of that, period. The Cowboys are going to lean with it, rock with it. Yeah, they ain't messing with that offense. Yeah, Willie Trust said Jordan Brooks is needed. Yeah, I take Jordan Brooks all day long. I take Jordan Brooks. All day long. Jason Turner, he said all day, every day, we need a linebacker. Yeah, I'll take him all day, every day over him. Yeah. Comic Flick Fusion said, I'll take Arnold. Ooh, hold on. Boy, I got a story for you. We about to do the Arnold. We're going to do the Arnold story right now. Ooh, Comic Flick Fusion. Boy, I got a story for you. What up, Real 9? What up? I got a story for y'all, man. I got a story for y'all. I don't know if y'all seen this Cam Newton piece. Yeah. Miss Major, you still in the building? I done checked on Miss Major. This is my second time. She might be watching the World Cup. I got a story for y'all. Cam Newton. Cam Newton's about to say something that's incredible. Real 9 said Mad Max will put our defense over the top. So would Jordan Brooks. Jordan Brooks he definitely puts your defense over the top. I think he'd be a more versatile piece for you. Jordan Brooks would be able to rush the passer, play the run, cover the pass. Jordan Brooks would be able to do so many different things for you on defense. So many different things. Jason Turner said Pickens would be ticked. Go to a quarterback we have never heard. Boy, Jason Turner, you ain't lying. I just thought about that, bro. He'd be right back to square one with Mendoza, man. Gene Ward said Crosby's damaged goods. Offense is set and we need to fix the back end of the defense. Yeah, I'm taking Jordan Brooks. I am. For a first, no, but Max is way better player than Brooks. We gonna see. Yeah, Brooks' contract would be much cheaper. Ooh, great point. Yeah, again, man, I appreciate the dialogue on that. Brian Broaddus is still invited to the cookout. Brian Broaddus is entitled to his own take on things. He's entitled to his own take. It's amazing to me, man, when somebody have a take like this, boy, people be making it into World War III. I'm like, calm down, bro. Calm down. It ain't that serious, man. Brian Broaddus just having some fun, I'm sure. Just having some fun. All right, I want to go to this next story. Man, this Terrion Arnold story. Cam Newton is about to just go nuts right now.
Yes! Here we go!
Terrion Arnold. So by now, most of us have heard the Terrion Arnold story. But I'll be honest with us. I think people are being a little too hard on Terrion Arnold before they hear the entire story. As a father with 4 sons, and they're good, but sometimes your children just make mistakes. You raise your children right. They do the right thing to get to the right places. And then sometimes they make a mistake. It just is what it is. There's a difference in a person with bad character. They chronically do bad things. Just one thing after another one with them. You're never getting a lick of sleep, trouble in school and everywhere they go. And even then, you're still going to love them. And they find themselves in predicaments they can't get themselves out of. But this kid, Terrion Arnold, let me tell you something. Frank Lawrence, you still in the chat? This kid, Terrion Arnold. Terrion Arnold can play some football. These are just a few plays. We don't want to just base his whole career off these few plays. But Terrion Arnold can actually play. Got a few plays of him here. Terrion Arnold can play. I think it was Frank Lawrence that told me that the Eagles traded up in front of the Cowboys to get him. He can play. Oh, Miss Matrix, I got a story for you. I got a story for you, Miss Matrix, with Terrion Arnold. I'm telling y'all, Terrion Arnold can play some ball, man. But not only can he play some ball, this isn't just about Terrion Arnold can play some ball. But Terrion Arnold is a good kid that made a mistake. That's what he is. Terrion Arnold is a good kid that made a mistake. This kid has been a model citizen. And, you know, I'm praying that his entire life isn't ruined over this issue. And kind of based on what the judge said and based on what I'm reading, and we're going to know more about this on Monday. But I don't think he's going to be in the trouble that people think he's going to be in. I know the news is dramatized and, 4 felonies. He's facing life in prison. And people have been saying this stuff. He's facing life in prison. Just calm down. Seems like he's got some good lawyers. A lot of the evidence is starting to come out. And he's going to be allowed to play football. Now, some people are saying he's going to be on the commissioner's list and all of these things. We're going to see if all that comes to fruition. But I think he's going to play football this year. And I don't think he's going to go to prison for no doggone 15 and 20 years and all this stuff people are talking about. I don't think it's going to happen. But I got a story for y'all. And actually, I don't have a story for you. I want you to see what Cam Newton said about Terrion Arnold. And I'm telling you guys that when Nick Saban came out and vouched for this young man, I think Nick Saban did that because this young man is a high character young man. Now, when we were talking about Sorsby, and I'm not saying he's not a good kid in the grand scheme of things, but Sorsby has a chronic gambling issue. And I hope he gets help this whole year. He's going to be off. But Terrion Arnold is different. He's had no problems. This kid has been a model citizen. Man, I want y'all to see the story. I want y'all to hear this story that Cam Newton is about to tell. When Cam Newton told this story, when I listened to it today, I said, man, Cam Newton, this is when it really hit me. I feel sorry for this young man. He just did something stupid. Listen to Cam Newton talk about Terrion Arnold.
Welcome to 4th and 1. Well, I always got it done. Go ask Maliko. Man, look, and I know Terrion. I know his family. Played it with C1N.
Let me warn you if you're sensitive. Please get you some napkins or Kleenex right now. If you are sensitive, get you a napkin or some Kleenex right now.
I know him too well. What the world's seen from Terrion Arnold in the last 2 to 3 weeks is not an accurate depiction of who that young man is. This is what I know to be true. Take my word as the gospel. The kid got a smile that'll light up the place. He has an infectious personality. Went to Alabama, obviously having a letter of recommendation to the judge from Nick Saban. This does not match who he is. But what I would do is use Terrion Arnold's situation to not only speak to Terrion, but to also speak to athletes and people of influence around the world. You don't think you're a big deal, brother, until something happens that will remind you that you can be on top of the world one day, and the next day the world can be on top of you. Terrion knows better. And at the end of the day, was he wrong? When you unpack what happened and the amount of money or the things that were stolen, it will leave anybody outraged. But how you did it, you can't operate as if you're normal when you're not normal. And something that he thought, man, I'm just trying to get my possessions back, bro. They hit me, dog. I'm mad. They stole jewelry. They stole money. They stole Listen, filed a police report, bro. And it's okay to say, they got me.
They got me.
But they won't get me again. When you start taking matters into your own hand, you also have to deal with what comes with those matters.
That's real.
It hurts me because I know the kid. I know the family. God, man, look.
Ooh-wee. That's tough. That is tough right there. Could you imagine if that was your son? I don't know if you've ever been in that situation before. But could you imagine if that was your son and you know you raised him right? And you just did something stupid. He did everything right to get to the right place, only to do the wrong thing with the wrong people at the wrong time. This is why, and Cam Newton, if you don't realize it, Cam said some of the same things I said about Terrion Arnold before. And this is why I teach my sons today, man, material things are nothing. I don't care if you're walking down the street and somebody try to take your shoes. Man, I ain't fighting no. Man, I wear Air Jordan tennis shoes. I'm not fighting anybody over tennis shoes. I wear nice shoes when I wear dress shoes. I'm not fighting anybody over some nice shoes. I'm not fighting people over rings, watches, cars. I'm not fighting anybody over material things. Cam Newton said it exactly right. Bro, sometimes you just got to say, you got me. You got me, man. Because when somebody gets you, sometimes you say it's their fault. But I say sometimes when somebody gets you, it's actually your fault. If you got stuff that costs that much money and you don't have it insured, that's not their fault. It's your fault. I don't ever want to be in a situation, and I won't be in, God forbid, but unless you coming from my family, I'm not sweating material things. Don't mean I'm not going to be mad or cry about something if it was something that I really like. But at the end of the day, man, material things are replaceable. But what you can't replace is life. You can't replace life. And we were talking about time early on, Miss Matrix. You don't get time back. That's why you don't waste it, because you don't get it back. People say make up for lost time. How do you make up for lost time? It's lost. It's lost. All you can do is just keep moving forward. And Terrion Arnold should have never did what he did. And I know he regrets it. And I got a strange feeling, man. Everybody keeps saying that this young man he going to jail. He in trouble. He ain't going to play and this and that. And I got a strange feeling that he'll be playing for somebody this year. Even if it's by mid-season, he'll be playing somewhere. Demetrius Noel said, he'll be on the commissioner's list. Goodell is full of corruption. Why do you think he's working FIFA of all organizations? Yeah. I think the NFL will step in and say something, but I don't think they'll keep him totally away. I think he'll play this year. Brandy said Cam needs a stylist. He is the stylist. But I agree with you. You seen his closet? He showed his closet. It's a hot mess. Yes, USMC said, I wonder how many hats Cam. He got quite a few. I seen his closet. Can't remember where it was, but he showed it. USMC, Detroit just up and quickly released him. Crazy, isn't it? It's crazy, isn't it? Freddie Morales, was it an upset? Frank Lawrence, he said Terrion Arnold, forensic search of his phone clears him. He was not present at the crime scene. All they have is inconsistent testimony of real felons who are looking for reduced sentences. Terrion gets off. Frank Lawrence? Frank Lawrence. Hey, man, I'm with you. I'm with you on this. I got a feeling this ain't going to turn out the way people think. Everybody keeps thinking that, man, he going to jail and this and that. And no, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. I got a feeling that he's going to get some kind of misdemeanor or something, but I got a feeling he's going to play this game. I got a feeling he's going to play this game. And again, Freddie, I understand what you're saying, and I'm not mad if someone says they don't want him on the team. But I'll tell you this, for all intents and purposes, he's not a bad kid. That, from everything I've been hearing, he is not a bad kid. He's not a bad kid. All right, Freddie, who was Argentina playing? Were they playing America? So, man, I'm not going to be surprised if I'm not going to be surprised. They said he's going to court on Monday, or his lawyer's going to court on Monday. And so the lawyer has told the court that there are 3 teams that are interested in Terrion Arnold. And I'm wondering if the judge is going to ask to reveal those 3 teams. And I'm wondering if one of those teams is going to be the Dallas Cowboys. I'm wondering, is one of those teams going to be the Dallas Cowboys? All right, let's move on to another quick hit here.
Here we go.
So, found something on PJ Locke, if y'all hadn't seen this. PJ Locke was talking about one Caleb Downs. And I'm telling you, this team loves Caleb Downs. Absolutely love Caleb Downs. All right, but America's still in it, right? I don't watch soccer a lot, so I'm gonna have to, once it start getting down closer to the end, I'm gonna have to start catching up on some. I don't really watch soccer like that. I think Miss Matrix is watching it. I think she kind of likes soccer. I think she got her son playing it. So I think she watches it. So, oh, you said blend, better hope not. You did. Hey, you did. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm not being hypocritical on this either. What up, Bulky Cowboys, Celtics? What up? I'm not being hypocritical on this. I didn't want Brandon Sorsby because Sorsby has a chronic issue. And we're already watching this crazy nonsense over in the WNBA with that guy by the name of what, Malik Willis or whatever his name, or Michael, what is it, Michael Beasley? Whatever this guy's name in basketball, dude been point shaving and man, just all kinds of stuff. You don't want that kind of stuff on your team. But with Terrion Kendrick, this just seems to be a mistake. This is not a character issue. This guy's just made a mistake. And if they do their due diligence on him, and this is what they find out about Terrion Arnold, and I don't see why the Cowboys wouldn't take a shot on him. I really don't see why the Cowboys wouldn't take a shot on him. So we're gonna see. There's a lot to unfold and unpack, and a lot of things are going to come out of this story. We're gonna see as it goes on. But the way that judge came down against the state, the way he came down and still refuses to give them the ankle monitor, I think that's saying something. I really think that's saying something about Terrion Arnold. And so we're going to see how it turns out. But again, got a story here on PJ Locke. PJ Locke talking about Caleb Downs. Man, this team absolutely loves Caleb Downs. And it's one thing when you are the first overall draft pick for your team, and there's a lot of hoopla surrounding you. But I think to Caleb Downs' credit, the one thing that I can appreciate about him is that it hasn't went to his head. He's still a humble young man, working hard. Seems, and I ain't gonna even say seem. He wants to succeed, and I believe he's going to succeed with the Dallas Cowboys. And so this is PJ Locke talking about Caleb Downs. Let's check it out.
In the funeral.
It's PJ Locke.
What's your thoughts on Caleb, man, and the rookie class? What's your? I mean, because he's highly praised, brother, and
100%.
We wanted that. We never thought we'd get him at 11, or when we traded up from 12 to 11. That was hell. I wanted to get in the top 5 to get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was that impressed with him. And from what all of the stuff we're watching and reading about, everybody say he's as advertised. You know what I mean?
He's as advertised, man. And the stuff that you don't see is like how he is in the funeral. It's like super smart, super willing. He asks questions, and I feel like early on, like I'm not going to compare him to me because he's way ahead of me when it comes to that. He went first round, all that stuff, right? But I feel like I see me and him because I feel like we have a similar play style, and also the way he asks questions. He always asks questions. And and he was like, I'm out there working out, and after practice, like I always do extra. So I took a couple guys in, and he wasn't with me at first, and then he kind of came and kind of started being around a little bit, and I was like, come on, man, let's do it. Every day after practice, we finding each other, and it's like to the point to where now it's like if I start without him, it's like, damn, bro, you gonna start without me? Like, I say my fault, bro, my fault. I got you. Come on, we gonna stick.
Yeah, see, that's humility right there. That's humility right there, man. This guy's a first-round pick. You know he's gonna start. He's gonna be on the field. But as much as he knows, still, hey, PJ Locke, hey, you know what? Still want to share knowledge. Let's hang around each other and whatever, just building that camaraderie, building that trust. Because they're going to be playing together. PJ Locke going to be on that field, y'all. You watch what I tell you. PJ Locke going to have himself on that field. Cowboys got some depth, and they're going to be playing these guys. They're not just going to be sitting on the bench. But it just goes to show you what kind of player Caleb Downs is, man. He's not full of himself. This guy wants to be great. And whatever steps are necessary to be great, he's going to do it. I can appreciate that, man. I'm glad to have a guy like this on the team. I mean, we got some leaders on this team now. We got some absolute leaders on this team. I love it. Absolute love what we have going on. Demetrius Noel, I like the point. You said, people forget Moses killed a man and God compared Moses only to his son, Jesus Christ. Are we better than God? Yeah, you're talking about Terrion Arnold. Waiting for more stuff to develop, but from everything that I'm hearing, just made a mistake. And don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if the Cowboys could be one of them teams, man. The Cowboys could be one of them teams. I'm telling you, inquiring minds want to know. Shoot, Monday, I'm gonna find out where they having that hearing at. I want to see if they're gonna reveal who those 3 teams are. Frank Lawrence, he said, my gut instinct tells me Terrion is a good kid with a lot of money, which is a magnet for criminals. And I think, man, you got to leave them friends alone sometimes, man. Yeah, Demetrius said, stop watching that corrupt sports. Trust me, FIFA already knows who's going to win the World Cup. I stopped wasting my time watching soccer. I've heard that before. Your dig said Caleb Downs is mature beyond his years. Yeah. Gwen, I'm interested to see how far the USA go for sure. Yeah, that's what Jerry said. You dig? He is the Dak Prescott of the defense for sure. Freddie Morales said, I can hear Stephen A. and Bayless and the rest of the boys hate a Schotty preach brotherhood, good manners, decency, but he has a guy accused of kidnapping and assault on his team. Let me tell you something, Freddie. I'll tell you something. I think they're gonna do the opposite of it. I think they'll do the opposite of it. I think they'll actually give him credit for bringing him in. Because, a lot of people, at least as far as I can tell, they're not covering this story kind of the way I am. But you rest assured that this story is going to start catching fire, I'm thinking, on Monday. And I believe that if everything comes out the way that it seems to already be coming out, I think that if the Cowboys were to bring him in, I think people would actually be applauding him. We'll see. Chef Pope, you got to keep that circle small. Yeah, man. Got to keep that circle small, man. Especially when you got assets. Jeremy Betts said those relationships are building in that culture that Schotty has set to have the right kind of guys leading our franchise this year. They will be successful having that family atmosphere they build. Yeah, man. Chef Pope, quoting Lil Wayne, real G's move in silence like lasagna. Fred Walker, Will Downs have the green dot. From what my understanding is, he can.
So yeah, man.
Because he come out of that Alabama, and when freshman he was at Alabama, then Ohio State. Yeah, he's
Tell him I'm gonna get him too. Don't worry about it,
bro.
He's seasoned, man. They gonna look for him a lot, and I just want to be there for him, just to take him through that mental roller coaster gonna hit at some point.
That's important.
It always does, And I just want to make sure I'm here for him to just kind of guide him through it, because I went through it the worst way. Yeah. So but he gonna be a hell of a player.
PJ Locke.
Hey, we got a good one. I'm glad we got him.
PJ Locke. I love what he said. I want to be there for him. I love it, PJ Locke. I love it. Absolutely, I love it. PJ Locke said just want to be there for Caleb Downs, man. Help him go through everything the right way. I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. Yeah, man. This is the difference in the team that we have today and the teams that we've had before Schotty got here, not including Jimmy Johnson's teams. Schotty is succeeding at what he wants to do and is doing. This man has built a brotherhood here, man, in Dallas, and I'm excited for it. Yeah, he's built a brotherhood, man. Shout out to Schotty. That's why, man, hey, Schotty's doing his thing as a coach. Now I want to see him evolve this offense. Demetrius Noel said, didn't Diggs get accused of assault and was found not guilty? I'm not sure. I'm not really a college guy. But it's pretty obvious, Okoye pointed out somebody know the other day. Maybe you're right about Diggs. I'm not sure. Chef Pope said if he get in with Dak, City, and George, he'll be good. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, we got real leaders, Pope. They're picking some guys with high integrity. Quinn said the Lions did him dirty. The Lions did him dirty and he won't even be found guilty. I believe so too, Quinn. I don't think he's going to face the charges that people believe. I don't think he is. I think they're going to drop probably 3 of those charges, and he'll probably plead down to some kind of misdemeanor. I believe that's exactly what's going to happen. What's going on, Mr. Get Dirty? This is exactly what's going to happen. All right, I got a couple of quick hits. And we'll be done for the day, and then we'll be back tomorrow. Yep, my wife said you're streaming on the 4th of July. I said, yes, I am. Yes, I am.
What's your thoughts on Caleb, man, and the rookie class? What's your, because it's
doing it for the culture, the Cowboys culture. All right, couple of quick hits. Donovan Ezeraku is looking really good. Just got to get him on the field. All right, we won't have that music on there. This is Donovan Ezeraku. Donovan Ezeraku was out here working out. Excited about Donovan Ezeraku. I think he's poised for a breakout year in year number 2. When you look at him statistically, he actually ranked really well. He ranked really well. 3rd best, I believe, or something in that range. And played with a hip last year. Hopefully he'll be fully healthy next year. Fully healthy. But nevertheless, Ezraku was putting in work. He in the lab. He is definitely in the lab. Let me see who this guy he's working out with. Says Coach Land is known for his work with Michael Parsons, Abdul Carter, and others. If Easy can get back to his sack production at Boston College, his second year will be exciting to watch. Man, Donovan Ezraku came off of a 17.5 sack season. Was Boston College, I believe, right? Boston College. And came to the NFL. And he was actually better at stopping the run than he was rushing the passer. Played the run really well. Now we just got to get him acclimated into that, hopefully in this Christian Parker system. And with BT Jordan, we'll get him back to his pass rushing ways. It'd be great if we could get him to double-digit sacks. Rashawn Gary. I'm telling you, I believe Rashawn Gary's going to have double-digit sacks. People have been hating on Rashawn Gary. I believe he's going to have double-digit sacks. But we need another guy that can be close. I'd love to see Donovan Ezraku get 9 or 10. James Houston get himself about 7 or 8. Like to see Quentin Williams get himself about 6, 7. Kenny Clark get about 5, 6. And then get some from these other positions. Overshown, maybe Overshown on some blitzes. Caleb Downs on some blitzes. If we can kind of get that thing going, man, I think we'll be okay. Yeah, Chef Pope said my shoulder got smelling good out here. Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to get me a smoker, man, for sure. I'm gonna learn how to smoke some barbecue, smoke some meat. Frank Lord said, Freddie, this kid's a first round talent, no doubt. Yeah, he's a first round talent, man. Talking about Terrion Arnold. But again, Donovan Ezraku, man, he's out there putting in work. Yeah, happy about that. Very anxious to see him get back on the field. Last segment of the day, and it's another quick hit. But one of the things that I like about this team, and it looks even better than it did last year, just bonding as a team, man. This is what we're watching. They're just bonding as a team, and Schotty got these guys just a family, man. I don't know what this is they're doing, but it looks like DallasCowboys.com has posted this.
Each other, really building up that space, Horse are.
Come on.
This is DallasCowboys.com here. This will be our last segment for today. Looks like the Cowboys rookies visit a horse ranch. Check this out.
You go the wrong way.
Let's go this way. Let's go for a walk.
I'm Dr. T with Dallas Cowboys, and today I have the honor of bringing the rookie class out to Our Watch, which is a horse ranch where we do workshops really to bring individuals back to centering themselves.
And then y'all can just kind of let him know you're there. Hey, and you can just gently kind of start. What do y'all notice when you're around the horses? What do you notice in your body? What do you notice in your body?
Make you relax.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get your hair right. So when you go around the ladies, let me try this. That you old enough, bro.
He likes that.
You gotta look
really
presentable. You know what I'm saying? So you get your.
He's only boy.
Man, that horse looking like Mr. Ed. He said, what in the world is this dude talking about?
Suit and tie. You know what I'm saying?
Get you looking fresh.
Fresh.
You with the Dallas Cowboys.
From Kentucky, we got the Kentucky Derby. So I've been around horses a little bit. Still nervous.
Man, walking horses,
getting the feel of being in the herd. My boys.
This is Big Leo.
God, come back!
Oh my God.
Yeah, you know, they're just out here bonding, man. And, you know, the thing for me, I bet to be a Dallas Cowboy and to go through some of the stuff and, you know, be a part of some of this team building that this team has. Man, I bet when you don't make this team, oh my gosh. I'm gonna put that in the link. Put that link in the chat if y'all want to watch the rest of that. Man, I bet when people don't make this team, I bet they be sad, bruh. Especially with the way Brian Schottenheimer got this thing going, boy. I bet they be sad. Bet they be sad. No, I said they making our rookie super friendly. He said he joking, but yeah, I know. Yeah. Mike T said, you only good when you have playoff wins and Super Bowl. What have you done for me lately? Yeah, we're going to see. I'm excited about our Cowboys. I'll continue to be optimistic while at the same time watching it develop. Watching it develop. Frank Lawrence said, gee, man, these videos of players training is a good sign. Last season was like a podcast that Trader kept. He said, how good? He said, by the linebackers he brought in, even Flus can't train players up. Crazy thing is, Frank Lawrence, up until he got to Dallas, he was the linebacker whisperer. Well, either he wasn't whispering loud enough or the players wasn't listening, especially the linebackers. Newhouse fam, I think we're going to make a huge improvement. And Newhouse, man, they're not done, bro. I don't think they're done. I think they're going to get into Oxnard, California, and they'll see what they have. I don't think they're done. I just don't think they're done with the players yet. And y'all remember I talked about this earlier in the offseason. So the Cowboys have now 3 more opportunities to improve the team. They've already used one of them. It was 4, and they've already used one of the 4. It was the UFL. They've already brought in a couple of players from the UFL. So we'll see how that turns out. But it looks like this year they're going to be just backups. They're going to have the July 15th. I think there's going to be a lot of shaking and moving July the 15th. There'll be a lot of shaking and moving after July the 15th. Teams will start cutting down players. So every time there's a cut down in the preseason, one man's trash is another man's treasure. There'll be people who will be shaking contracts. So when you look at all of that, the Cowboys will have 3 more opportunities. I mean, you know, really, you can call it 2, but one of them is a larger sample. July 15th, who knows what they could do as far as a trade. But after that, I'm sure there'll be teams that'll cut players. And then as you continue to get to the cut downs of the preseason all the way to the first week of the season. So the Cowboys are going to have every opportunity to improve this team. I also believe they're going to circle the block again on Jordan Brooks. I don't think this is a Cowboys issue. I think it's a Miami issue. I think the Miami Dolphins are trying their best to get everything they can. They're trying to get everything they can out of Jordan Brooks. I don't blame them. I'm telling us right now, from what I'm hearing, they want a 3rd round pick. Well, he's the 1st round pick, and he's been playing like it. Yeah, I forgot who that dude is, Quinn, but we picked him up, UDFA. Demetrius Noel, he said, gee, they better watch those. Boy, I was thinking the same thing. I ain't getting behind no doggone horses. I don't mess around with horses. I don't mess around with horses, man. I don't mess around with horses. I don't mess around. Demetrius said, yeah, ignore the haters, let them find another team to root for. Hey, they'll be fine. We gonna keep watching, man. Ryan Anthony, what's going on? But man, I'm telling you, I'm excited about the Cowboys. I'm excited about the Cowboys at the same time. We got to see it all come together on the field. But my
great way
biggest
to train
thing
that experience,
is it coming together off the field. Coming together off the field. I'm happy about that. Frank Lawrence, I love what you said. 12 teams have 0 Super Bowl wins. 4 of those have 0 conference championship wins. Dallas Cowboys have 5 Super Bowl wins and 20 conference championship appearances in 66 years. Yeah. Frank Lawrence, we gotta get our young folks one though. And I think Jerry's working on it. We gotta get our young folks one. Braves Cowboys, he said, G, have a happy 4th of July. You too. May not be on tomorrow, but be safe and God bless. Yeah, you too. Yeah, I'll be on tomorrow at some time. And if I don't be on, you're gonna see a slew of videos tomorrow. But I do plan to be on, even if it's for an hour tomorrow. I'm gonna come on and never know what's gonna come up. Fred Walker said the Cowboys have a target in the back of their mind, and it's Brooks. Horses can be dangerous. Yeah, I think they're gonna circle the block on Brooks. They're gonna circle the block on Brooks, man. Bazzy 9 said, call me crazy, but I think we can go all the way to the big dance, G. Well, you already know where I am. You know I believe it. I definitely believe it. Andre Johnson, what's going on? Man, I appreciate y'all, man, rocking with me. Y'all make sure y'all have a safe and happy 4th of July. Enjoy your family and enjoy the Cowboys. Until the next time, DC4L, God bless. Best chat on YouTube. Let's talk Cowboys and we talk facts. Peace.